Final Fantasy 15. They're messing it up, and they need to stop.
So, I may be slightly contrarian on this.
Oh, good.
Because there's one thing that I will agree with you on, but go ahead and rant, and then I will...
Okay, is it the fact that when you buy the $270 special edition, it doesn't come with DLC?
Yep.
Is that a problem for you?
That's my problem.
Okay.
Because the rest of that set looks really good.
Yes.
There's a 187-page, like, art...
Yeah,
like, hard
I want a lot of the stuff that is in the collector edition, but if you get the... What is it called? The Ultimate Collector's Edition.
Yeah.
You don't get all of the game. Like, yes, this stuff is cool, but I need to get all of the game that's coming out.
You should at least get the season pass.
The first, yeah.
So that's the big uproar that people are having is that the season pass is not going to contain... There's going to be some additional DLC afterwards that is not going to be contained within the season pass.
Right. My biggest issue with this, you still haven't released the game. There's a really good interview with Neil Druckmann.
Yes.
When he was working on Uncharted 4, and he was like, and various people were asking, they're like, okay, so what are we looking at for DLC on this one? He's like, we're working on the game.
Yeah.
When we finish the game, we'll figure out what we want to do with DLC. See what people like. See what it is that we want to continue.
Sure.
But we're going to finish this game, then we'll figure out all this stuff.
Yeah.
And their focus has shifted from, hey, let's make a game for people, to, okay, let's figure out what various tiers people are going to be at. And like, I'm sure this is a really important part of the story, but God, this looks boring.
Well, I'm
so boring.
Well, they're pushing the car, and you get some story while that's happening. Is what I'm assuming, and maybe you try to flag someone down. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess.
Now, I will contrast this because some people are like, "Well, Telltale games and da 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 da." No. Telltale's a completely different model. That is a sales model of saying... I've seen people on the internet essentially say, well, no one has a problem with Telltale coming out with this episode and this episode. I'm like, yeah, that's the point. That's the whole point. And in Telltale, I can buy a season pass, I get everything, and I don't pay for a game and a season pass. It's a different business model. Now... Well,
and it's also designed to be episodic, and they do actually change the game based on feedback that they get.
Yes.
And they plug it into their broken engine and they release it.
And in this case... there are some of the DLC. Obviously, there are multiple sections we don't really know a lot about, but there are 3 that are specifically for your companions. They're labeled as your companions. We're assuming that what those are is that will be a more in-depth look at that character. That will be an in-depth look at your connection to that person, why they matter.
Which is kind of what they're doing with Brotherhood. Have you gotten to?
I haven't. I know that's what they're doing with it. So I think it may be another way to do it.
Like I'm really getting into these characters.
Yeah.
Because before it's just, hey, you've got all these things going on and what have you. But just having the characters and being able to look at them and figure out, okay, this is who this person is. This is who they are to not.
Yes.
And yeah, that's definitely a positive. And figuring out, because now I know who Ignis is. I know who he was before he encountered.
Yeah.
And I know his story, I know their story, I understand this dynamic, and it does make me more excited to see them interact and go on this adventure together.
I think that will help give you that backstory. What I'm hoping is that that DLC portion is kind of like the Mass Effect 2 DLC. There were 2 bits of DLC that gave you an extra. They gave you an extra character. And then they also gave you the story, not only of how you pick them up, but a loyalty mission. In Mass Effect, you haven't played Mass Effect,
right?
So Mass Effect,
I will someday.
So you have you gather your crew to help the universe, blah blah blah. But also each character that you grab has a loyalty mission that's 3-4 hours or so, going off and helping them in a personal thing.
Varmints of the Wasteland.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the ability to explore the characters and find out more about them. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, the big thing is that their focus has shifted
Yeah.
to already start nickeling and diming us before we can do anything, and then the ultimate collector's edition.
Yeah.
Like you're not reaching out to the people who are most excited and most invested, because like you're gonna buy it regardless.
Yeah,
that's just your thing. I'm a little bit more reserved, and I want to see what it is that I'm getting into before I pick it up.
Well, I'll probably, I mean, if it's everything that I'm seeing on it and what I played of the demo, I will more than likely enjoy the gameplay and the story. It's just a question of how much I'll enjoy it. I'm hoping that Whitney will enjoy it, because the gameplay is so much like Kingdom Hearts that I think she'll enjoy it as well. I think that what we're seeing here, it's a systemic problem with AAA games. It's not just Square. It's a systemic problem with AAA games where most publishers expect that the developer makes a game and DLC and a season pass, hopefully.
A season pass that is the DLC.
Yeah.
And I mean that's what the Souls games have done, and I will happily continue to buy all of that DLC. I bought the DLC for Dark Souls 2. I bought the DLC for Bloodborne, and I will buy the DLC for Dark Souls 3, and I might even play this one. But I am so willing to throw money at them to give me more single player content.
Yeah, and that's because of what they've shown you in the past.
Yes,
and Square hasn't done that with Final Fantasy 13. I think they left a lot of bad taste in everyone's mouth.
Yeah.
So.
And
I will buy it. I'll let you know what all about it. I'm excited, and I'm curious about the other DLC packs within the season pass. But I am very excited about the specific parts that have to deal with the characters in there, and how hopefully they will integrate within the regular like main story.
Yeah. So or it could be like prequels. I can see that, like an opening story of what happened to them in the 3 months before the story starts, because that seems to be one of their big focuses.
I think that Brotherhood already does that, though, so they might not.
The Brotherhood does, but I don't get to play it, and also the Brotherhood reaches way farther back.
Okay.
Because we meet Ignis when he's like a kid that doesn't even know the prince.
Okay.
And he's just like, hey, the prince is cool. I wish we could be friends. And it's adorable, and he's my new favorite.
Nice.
So yeah. So that's the Final Fantasy 15 news for this week and our perspective.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments if you think differently about any of that, or tweet at us all your hate tweets.
Or I mean, we had two different perspectives, so you can yell at one of us.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, it's fun. So we already covered the Ultimate Edition. That was my problem with it. Is that should have the season pass with it, anyways.
Yeah.
So there is a countdown. Another countdown.
Oh, the last bit of Final Fantasy 15 gripe. We didn't cover all the 15 griping.
We didn't.
Okay, so interview with the director. He said that the first half of Final Fantasy 15 is open world, and then in quote traditional Final Fantasy progression, it narrows down to the story. That's not traditional Final Fantasy progression. You start off with the story.
Yeah.
You get the airship. and then you go and explore
you go wherever.
And then when you decide, then you hit the story and come back out and go back.
Yeah.
Like go in and progress as you see fit. But if his idea is that traditional Final Fantasy progression is open world, then tunneled into a story, and I'm using tunnel specifically because of that bloody corridor in 13.
What I'm hoping is that that's the last section of the game,
The last disc.
Yeah. Which I can
I hope so, but he said his words were the first half of the game and the last half of the game, and that's concerning.
It's odd. Unless it works for the story. Stories can. If it works for the story, okay. If it's open and then all of a sudden there's a reason why it's tunneled.
Well, I'm sure there will be a story explanation.
But that is kind of weird, traditional, because it's not tradition for Final Fantasy.
And that, hence my concern.
Yeah.